Setting boundaries is not selfish, and there's like a negative stigma around it. And I think it's in the human nature to get hooked to things once you see results, and that's what was happening to me. You can see yourself doing for a long time, then that's when you know that you're on the right track. If you're struggling to find balance between an active lifestyle and a social life, you've landed in the right video. And why am I allowed to talk about it? Well, my name is Astrid and I have what most people would define as a normal life. I work a 9 to 5, I have chores, I have ambitions just like you. But I also have a family and I have friends that I want to see on a regular basis, which at the end of the day is time consuming. And it all goes down to time at the end because we all have the same 24 hours. So in today's video, I'm going to show you a bit what I do to balance the active lifestyle as well as the social one while living in Copenhagen. It is quite a gloomy morning and you cannot see, but I'm dressed in workout clothes because I'm headed to host my own run club with more than 65 girls, which is mind-blowing. But we're headed there and I'm going to show you what we do. We just finished the run and it was so nice. All the girls were super happy, I hope. It was quite of a spooky one, but very beautiful around Christiania. Now I'm at Hardbergerie to eat a BMO. It's quite busy, but we managed to get a table in a corner. And this one is close to or on the way to Reffen, which is quite new but very cozy if you're ever in Copenhagen. I'm now home from the event and it was so much fun. I even got to take a bag of Supplements with me and I've been actually taking them for 30 days now. I haven't really posted or anything because I wanted to try it before I recommend it, but I'm very happy with it and I'm gonna go more in depth in another video where I talk about it and why I take it. Before I shower, I want to talk a bit more about what does an active lifestyle mean. It's very important for me to acknowledge that an active lifestyle isn't a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. It's about understanding why it matters to you and also understanding what is your own purpose behind it. And like everything in life, we don't have to figure it out to start. Rather, just jump in it and discover your purpose while you are trying to figure out, but acknowledge why are you doing it. That is gonna make you stick to it, be consistent, and show up on those days that you have to rely on discipline instead of motivation. If we zoom out the picture, I like to define an active lifestyle in 3 different areas: movement, fuel, and rest. If we focus on the movement part, it is the one that I've been doing this morning, which was the run club, but it is quite important to figure out what your movement is gonna be and also knowing that this one might change over time. In one of my last videos, I mentioned my relationship with the sport and how this one has shifted over the years. I started playing a lot of tennis back then, but it wasn't really bringing me what I wanted. That's when I transitioned over to the gym. and it started to really pay off and make me happy. But now it's running, so it's quite important to know that the movement is gonna change, but as long as you're doing something that you're happy with and you can see yourself doing for a long time, then that's when you know that you're on the right track. I'm gonna shower because I feel quite disgusting, and after we're gonna make lunch. And I also want to talk to you about how I became obsessed with my routine and how it started to impact my relationships and how I decided to put a break on it. Lunch is served and I'm so excited. So before I tell you a bit more about my past obsession with my routine, I want to talk about fuel and why is it so important. This is so good. Adding soy sauce to my veggies was such a smart move. I wouldn't be wrong to say that a lot of girls have looked at calories in some point during their life or fitness journey, and I've also been there, but I'm so happy that I shifted my focus and focused on getting the right foods with the right nutrients in. Because let's say that you have a bag of chips that have the same amount of calories as this meal that I might be eating here. Which one do you think is more nutritious? It's clear that the chips will give you empty calories, whereas this is giving me protein, is giving me fiber, and many other nutrients that are gonna help me with digestion, muscle recovery, rest, and it's also gonna keep you full for longer, whereas the chips are gonna leave you feeling empty and tired. And I have to emphasize here that is just thinking about the big picture of things. The diet that I follow, which I don't want to call a diet, but the habits that I have and the relationship with food that I try to implement on a weekly basis is the 80-20 rule. 80% of the times I'll have foods like this one that are nutritious, good for my body, and are healthy, where I get some greens, some protein, and some carbs. Whereas the other 20%, I'm gonna have chips, alcohol, burgers, pizzas, all of that stuff that fall under the unhealthy bucket. You do have to have those foods, which are the 20%, to also be able to maintain a healthy lifestyle, because without that one, you would be depriving yourself too much, unless you don't like those things. But who doesn't like those? At the end of the day, I try to be mindful about what I put inside my body, because you are what you eat. And if I don't eat the right things, I'm not gonna have energy, I'm not gonna rest well, and I'm not gonna be able to perform. Lunch was so good, and I have my coffee with me now. It's still a bit past my limit time to get a coffee in, but we still have quite a few things to get done throughout the day, so I'm gonna allow myself to have a nice coffee while I tell you about my obsession with my routine. If we go back in time to 2022 is when I was starting my weightlifting journey. And I was coming from having spent a few months in Sweden where I was studying abroad, and there I was discovering the gym, and I found this nice routine of going there, but as well as partying and going to all of these social activities that you do when you are in Erasmus. And you also don't want to miss out, because if you don't do them, you're not gonna make friends and you're there for a long time. But I came back to Spain and I was like, okay, now that I know a bit like what to do at the gym, I'm gonna take full advantage. And I was going almost every day. I had a 6 or 7 day split routine, and I was really seeing progress fast, because it was also the start, which is when it's easier for you to see progress. And in between, I was going to classes and also living at home, so I didn't have to spend that much time I'm cooking or I'm cleaning my clothes. So I was fully dedicated to the gym and to my studies. And I think it's in the human nature to get hooked to things once you see results, and that's what was happening to me. I was getting quite strong and I was lifting heavy weights, and that made me even more hooked. That didn't really help my personality since I tend to be an all or nothing person, which is something that I've been trying to work on these past few months and even years. It was also the time where we had all returned from our Erasmus. We were in our party era, especially my friends. They were here. I was here who wanted to go to the gym, but they wanted to go to the club. And I was saying, I want to go to the gym. I need to go to bed early. Otherwise, I'm not going to be rested and I'm not going to be able to lift as heavy as I wanted to or I was hoping to. That was my focus for quite a few months until I started going to the therapist for also other reasons. And in those sessions, I learned to be a bit more assertive. And for those that don't know, I didn't either. It means to confidently and respectfully express your thoughts, feelings, and needs while considering others' perspectives. And what I was facing is that my friends or whoever was around me was suggesting to go to the club, but I would say, no, I have to sleep and wake up early and go to the gym, so I cannot go. And that was everything. But instead, how I learned to deal with those situations while keeping my friends, because I love them and we have things in common that make me be their friends, of course, for a reason, was to learn that not just because I cannot go to the club, it doesn't mean that I cannot join them for dinner. So instead of going to the club, I would join them for dinner and then propose to do another plan another day. And that's how I learned to still be able to manage having a social life with an active life that back in time was a bit obsessive, but I learned to break those patterns. Fast forward, I'm really proud of the work that I've put and how I balance or I'm able to make time for both of them without missing out on opportunities, but still working out because it makes me happy and it is a huge part of my life. We're having a little celebration at my friend's yoga studio. She's celebrating, I don't know if it's like her second year at the studio or something like that. But we had some nice champagne and chips and I met actually new people, which is always very nice. But I'm also getting very hungry. I made a reservation next door. You'll see where we're going, but I'm very, very excited. And hopefully it fills me up for tomorrow's long run. Hi friends, yesterday was quite of a later one for me. We went to have dinner at Little Brothers. I always like it so much. And Barca was playing against Real Madrid, so that led to going to the pub next door and we had a couple of extra drinks and they won, which I was so happy about. I biked home and it was 1 a.m. when I made it in bed and I woke up quite tired this morning, I'm not gonna lie. And I had a long run to tackle. I was gonna aim for 16, 18, and I ended up doing 16, which I'm so proud of. Honestly, I was not expecting that I could do it since I'm a bit sleep deprived. But something that I want to talk about as well is rest. Rest is another big area for me that fall within the active lifestyle, and it is so important because without sleep we don't perform, and I've had a rocky relationship with it in my past few years since I deal with insomnia due to various reasons. Also when I was going through my obsessive routine phase that really affected my sleep, since at the end of the day it's all mental and that's the only thing that I could think of. If I don't get enough hours of sleep, I'm not gonna perform. And when you start overthinking about a specific topic, it just gets into your head and it's even harder to sleep. But fast forward, I have a very healthy routine now with my sleep as well. And I also want to talk to you about 2 supplements that I take at night that I don't know what is it, but without them, I just don't have the same quality of sleep. I spent around 4 days without taking these supplements, and I was sleeping around the same hours or even more, close to the 8 mark, and my sleep score was lower, and I could see that I was waking up throughout the night. So with these supplements, I can really have a deeper sleep and unwind, which is the whole purpose of this supplement. This is how it comes. I take Unwind and Ultra Magnesium to have a better and deep sleep as well as to recover. I usually take, or not usually, I take 2 capsules, which is the dose that you should take, and it comes like this, just with some water before I go to bed, as well as Ultra Magnesium. I take 3 of this. And it also comes in capsules. And I honestly have been having the best sleep ever. It is all very natural and lab tested. And I honestly really recommend it. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many hours you get, of course, within a certain range. Before that, I think I was overthinking about it. But now that the watch does the job for me, it has been a level up in my routine. Later today, I'll talk a bit more about what time I go to bed and how I'm able to wake up and exercise before work, which is going to be the case tomorrow. But now I'm quite hungry, so I'm going to make a bowl of yogurt and get to packing because you cannot see it, but I have my suitcase behind because I'm traveling to Costa Rica, so I'm super excited, but I have to pack, and I also have a Pilates class later that I'm going to take it with me. I've been editing for a while now and I'm getting a bit hungry, so I'm gonna snack on this protein bar from Burgos. This one is by far my favorite one. If I could only choose one, it would be this one. I'm not gonna make a big meal because I'm going to Pilates at 3:30, so I still have 2.5 more hours and I don't want to feel too heavy, otherwise I'm gonna puke on the class and we don't want that to happen. So I'm gonna eat this, finish that, and start with packing because I've been postponing it, but now I've done all my check-ins at the hotel and for the plane, so I don't have more excuses. So good. Packing is not going too bad. I'm exporting my YouTube video, and behind packing, I'm going through some shorts and tops as well as swimsuits because we're gonna be in those quite often, but I'm taking a small carry-on. Here's how it's looking like, and also a backpack that I have here, but that's the last thing that I'm gonna pack. I'm also sitting with this pile of clothes that I have to go through and put away. But first is Pilates, and I also have to quickly go to the pharmacy and to Matas, like the beauty store, to get a couple of things for the trip, and we'll be set to go and stretch these muscles. I'm off from Pilates and it was so nice. My balance was really tested and my abs were burning, but it's something that I want to do more and more now, especially that I'm gonna be running a lot more for my new training blog. So it was definitely a good way to end this Sunday. But before I go home, I'm gonna go to the grocery store and pick up a few items for tonight's dinner and tomorrow's lunch, which is gonna be the last meal before I travel to Costa Rica. It's also getting super cold, so I better rush and go home before I get a cold. For dinner with some tuna and spinach that I picked up at the grocery store, and tomatoes. I don't have any of that, but something that is making it taste amazing are toasted walnuts that I put on top and a green goddess seasoning that I have. It's so good. I realized that I never finished the video, and it's also getting so dark now in Copenhagen that I didn't want to record while being so dark, so I'm definitely gonna have to think about my setup to bring some more light. The last thing that I wanted to talk about was about sleep and how important rest is. In terms of my schedule, I'm a person that juggles a million things in a day. It means that I go to bed, what people would say, quite early. I like to have finished my dinner by 7:30 p.m. Then I usually do some work during the weekdays, and I have this rule where by 8:30 I shut my phone off and I'm not allowed to text anyone or basically do things that are active, only passive, so it would be reading or watching a show or even YouTube. By doing that, I make sure that I isolate myself from the world and whatever might be going on. And I use that hour and a half before going to bed to unwind and just spend time solely for leisure and for and by myself. I realized that when I'm up working late and I don't have that hour, I don't sleep as good, and especially since I have to be up early the next day, usually by 6 is when I wake up to go do my training. If I don't get those 7.5 or 8 hours of sleep, I can't function and I'm not myself. Setting boundaries is not selfish, and there's like a negative stigma around it, but it is essential to maintain healthy relationships and well-being. It's also gonna set you up for a good week. I can promise you that. I've been doing it for a long time and I wouldn't do it any other way. I also want to tell you that if you are afraid of saying no to others because of what they might say or think, please do you. By saying yes or no to others at free will is only showing that you respect yourself, because your time is valuable and so should others accept it. If you're also struggling to find balance between an active and social life, I just want you to know that you're not alone and that you're surrounded by people. that love you and appreciate you. My DMs are also always open, so feel free to reach out if there's anything, and I'll see you on the next video.